Hello everyone, welcome to the Hazmat YGO YouTube channel. My name is Harry and today I'll be going over my comprehensive guide for the Runick Spright for Hire deck. So who am I? I have no real relevant tops. I made it to Oceanics in 2019 playing Mystic Mind Burn, and I made day 2 at the 2017 Sydney YCS playing Lightsworn without Minerva. Yeah, that's about it. Why am I making this? I've seen plenty of good videos and resources for the deck, but there's nothing like what I'm making now with the amount of detail that I wanted and the layout, so I decided I'd just do it myself. So what we'll be going over, we've got the reasons to play the deck, the strengths and weaknesses, the engines, so what each of the 3 engines of the deck does, what you're aiming to achieve, and what allows it all to work together, like what the synergies are. We have the actual deck list, the choices that are there, the choices of the cards that have been excluded, cards you can sort of play around with, and alternatives to existing choices which may come up in later formats. You have the combo lines, so how the deck plays, what it's trying to do, and how to navigate various interactions. We have technical play, the way that you'll play out certain hands, and I think more specifically, how you'll play regarding certain cards that you've drawn and certain cards you want to avoid being interacted with. And then we've got the side deck, cards on the side, cards that could be in the side, siding patterns for going first and second, and consideration to what might be sided against you. So we have the reasons to play the deck. It has absolutely incredible resource loop. Like, on turn 1, you'll likely draw 3 cards off a fountain, and then after that, you'll be drawing 6 cards every turn through destroying cards and drawing cards off of Folgo as a response, and then resolving fountain just repeatedly. The turn 1 board is very strong, most often ending on 1 or 2 negates, a targeted pop, fountain, and usually plenty of Runicks to follow up. You've got resilience to hand traps, often being able to play through like Ash Imperm or Imperm Veiler, and still getting to a decent end board considering that they're going to be down those cards. Mannequin Cat, it's just an absolutely insane rank 2, and it just does so much, and people don't play around it, they don't consider it, and I just like the card. And then each engine has access to life point gain in time, so the Runicks, the Sprights, and the For-Hires all have a way to gain life, so it's just a bonus. The downsides to the deck. You are constantly searching, you are constantly drawing cards, and as a result, you are very weak to draw, which is going to be a staple going into Phantom Nightmare format, so that's just something to consider. Often you can't set up a Monster Negate prior to doing the majority of your combo, so you are weak to Nibiru as well. If you open any of the Sprights early, you can set up for red and maintain that, but without that, it's just not gonna make it. The deck has no 1-card starter. You have to see any of the Runick quick play spells plus Rex Freight for Hire, the level 2. We'll get into that later. You rely on finding and maintaining Runick Fountain for the majority of your interactions. So being able to resolve Hugin and find the fountain is important, because if you get Ash Imperm Veiler, you're down a card and you still don't have the fountain, so you either got to make a second Hugin to find it again, discarding another card. So you'll be down 4 cards at that point, so you have 1 card which has to be Rex to continue, or you're just not gonna make it. Because of how much the engines take up in the deck, there's very little room to play around with. You've got 5 to 6 slots maximum, and even 6 is sort of pushing it. Outside of Rex, the For-Hire monsters aren't ideal draws in your opening hand. Rex finds beat finds the rest. You don't want to open anything other than Rex. You don't have a battle phase, and you don't have a way to pressure life going into time outside of gaining on your own. Like, you can't Can't go to battle phase unless you avoid playing Runicks at all, and even then, it's questionable. Looking at the engines, this is going to be a comprehensive list. So feel free to skip these parts if you're already familiar with the engines. This is for people that are just interested in the deck and haven't really gone over the cards. So the Runick stuff is going to be your primary resource loop and your form of interaction. Every quick play spell is one half of your 2-card combo. The synergy is that Hugin is also a level 2, which synergizes with the Sprights and to a lesser extent the the Furhires. And then it helps to provide access to Furhire and Spright engine. This will be, in some hands, just resolve it. Like, you'll have a handful of Runicks, you'll resolve a couple of them, ideally draw 3 cards, and that'll just find you the rest of your stuff. The Spright, it's a small engine, it's only 4 cards in this list. It provides insulation from hand traps, because if you open blue plus a Runick or Rex, you can special the blue and then find red or carrot respectively, whatever you fear. It allows you to extend into your strongest end board, so if you draw blue off of, or if you draw the other ones as well, blue is just an extra body, but if you draw any of them off of the Fountain or excavate them off Rafali, they give you extra interactions. Blue is a body that lets you go into IP, and then you've got red and carrot, which is a monster and spell trap negate respectively. It provides an additional monster type. We'll discuss that, but basically because they're Thunders, Folgo and Dono require monsters with different types to be summoned, and just having Thunder just is relevant for that. And it also gives you access to your Furhire engine in hands that are not as good, because Gigantic Spright will find them. The Furhire stuff. It's the other half of your resource loop. Summoning Folgo, having Donpa in play, and then getting back another Furhire, which the engine does every turn. If you have 3 Furhires on field and you pop something, you will draw 3 cards. That's it. It is how you're going to access the majority of your extra deck as well. Like, Furhires are surprisingly capable link strategy. Like in this context. Provides access to the Spright engine and Runicks to a lesser extent. Again, like, if you resolve Folgo, getting the draw 3, that will help you find your other pieces, but you're not going to resolve Folgo turn 1 unless you get into Mannequin Cat combos. And Rex and Don for level 2s, and that's the synergy with Spright. So Gigantic Spright can summon Rex, that can find your Rookie or Mayhem, and we'll get into that further on. This is the deck list. The majority of this deck list is just straight up taken from Michelle Imey's 3rd place top at the Italian Open, which will be linked in the description for the deck profile. So going over the cards, we have Beat. Beat is your searcher when another Furhire is specialed, and it shares a trait with the other 2 little ones that isn't Rex. So Donpa, Beat, and Philo all have the effect that you can just special summon a Furhire from hand once per turn. Next up is Donpa. Level 2 beast. If you special summon a Furhire while you control it, you can target one face-up card on the field and destroy it. Philo is like the one flex spot. I'm a big fan of it, however, so I won't be cutting it. If you are going to cut it, I probably would cut it for a 3rd talent. Philo has the same effect to summon from hand, and then if one is special summoned while you control Philo, it'll summon one from the grave, but return it to the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. After that, you have Rafali. That's the level 8, I believe. When he's special summoned, you excavate cards off the top of your deck equal to the number of Furhires you control that aren't himself, and then add any one of them from the excavator to hand, which is insane. The amount of times you can find Tip, you'll find a Spright, you'll find Fossil Dig for follow-up. Just does so much. Then you've got... It's also a monster effect negate, discarding a Furhire card. Next up, you've got 3 of the Rex Freight Furhire. He is a level 2 Dono. On normal or special summon, adds a Furhire spell trap from deck to hand, which we only have 2 valid targets in the deck. And when he's in the grave, during the main phase, quick effect, if you control a Furhire, banish him from the grave, then target a Furhire card in your graveyard. You can either add it to your hand, or if you target a monster, you can special summon it, which will be relevant for how you interact with your opponent. For the Sprites, we just have 2 blue, 1 carrot, 1 red. You don't need 3 of the blue. You'll find it really consistently. You've got the carrot, which is the spell trap negate, and the red, which is the monster negate. Into spells, we have 3 Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig is just 3 more copies of Rex. Rex is your most important starter. Going on from that, you have the 2 targets for Rex, which is Mayhem. It's just a quick play Monster Reborn in defense. And then you've got Rookie for Hire, which you tribute a monster you control as cost to special summon a monster for hire with a level 1 higher or lower. This is just part of the combo. Then you've got the Runicks. You've got 3 Destructions, which is Spell and Trap removal. You've got 1 Dispelling, which is one of the less impressive ones, but it's the better of those, so it slots in more so just to keep your ratios up. 3 Flashing Fire, which is destroys a special summon monster. You've got 2 Fountain, which is the heart and soul of the deck. Then you've got 3 Freezing Curses, which is a monster negate. 3 Slumber, which serves as protection for a monster you control. You've got Smiting Storm, which the first effect is functionally flavor text, so don't stress about it too much. It just uses another instant fusion. Then you've got 3 Tip, which is your Searcher. 2 Talents, and 3 Evenly. Because we've got so little in the way of non-engine, I wanted to just absolutely maximize on powerful cards for when I do go second, because going first, you're not too worried about drawing hand traps. And then going second, if you see Evenly, you see Talents, you are in a very good spot. Moving on to extra deck, we've got Gary. He, on summon, adds a Runick field spell from grave to hand. So this is the way you recur destroyed Runick Fountains. 2 Hugin. I have been tempted to play 3 Hugin just on the fact that it's a level 2 and sometimes you just need the names. Hugin on summon, you discard a card, add a Runick field spell from deck to hand. So again, that's how you find Fountain. And then it also serves as a way to protect Fountain if it remains on the field. You have Munin, which is a level 3. Munin is played because it's a level 3, so if you hard open Rookie for Hire without access to Rex, you can summon the Munin, tribute the Rex to summon the Rookie, search the Mayhem, and then start playing with the rest of your hand. And then you've got 1 Sleipnir, which is mainly just for the interaction of banishing. It's another name, and it helps you maintain board state. You've got Gigantic Spright, that just helps you get access to your Spright engine or your Fur Hires situationally. Mannequin Cat. Mannequin Cat is crazy. You'll look at this deck and you'll see that you've got, for example, Beat is an Earth Warrior, Donper is a Wind Beast, you've got a Philo, which is a Wind Wing Beast, Rex is an Earth Dino, then you've got Dark Thunder, and then Fire Thunder. You get so much access out of Mannequin Cat, especially in games 2 and 3. Going first, it helps you resolve Folgo turn 1, so the punish on getting hand trapped by, say, an Effect Valor and Ash Blossom is that you get to draw 3 cards, so it's just crazy. You got a Typhon, doesn't come up often, but when it does, it just exists. Sometimes it's just a body that you can summon, bounce a card, and it's just a 2900 beater. You got 2 Donner and 1 Folgo. Beforehand, I was playing 3 and 2, but with Kashtira not really doing what it usually does, it's not ripping cards from the extra deck, you're not concerned about that. Sometimes you want 2 Folgo because if it gets banished off SP, but if they're banishing Folgo off SP, they're not getting rid of Fountain, and that's something I'm okay with. You have IP and SP, SP is what you're usually going to summon off of IP in your opponent's turn. And then you've got Sprint, which is for certain combos and setups, and then you've got the one that I'm questioning still, which is Unchained Abomination. It feels a bit win more, but it also just acts as like 2 more pieces of removal per turn. Like when something's destroyed except by its own effect, you destroy something else. You're going to ignore the battle phase one because you're never going to get a battle phase, and then during the end phase you just get to pop something. So it just helps you push through your opponent's boards and just really starve them of resources, because you're ultimately going to either try decking them out, resolving Slumber and Tip and Smiting Storm if they have monsters on the board, but that's not likely to happen because you're just going to be stripping them of resources. So maintaining this much pressure, you're just hoping that they concede, but if they don't, you still have the resources to just burn through their deck. So we're going to go on to the example combo of like the standard combo. I will have some commentary as we go through it, but I want to clarify that I didn't want to just show you a 2-card combo or 2.5-card combo because it felt a bit disingenuous to how the deck actually plays. Like, I could show you Rex, like the Rex evenly and the Flashing Fire and ignore the Freezing Curses and the tip, but you're playing with a 5-card hand, so it felt more accurate to show this. Do note, I am doing this on Edo Pro. In reality, if you're going first, you want to be doing any of the quick plays to summon Hugin during the draw phase, so that way you can play through draw. Discarding evenly because we're not going to resolve at turn 1. Rex finds Rookie. Rookie tributes Hugin to summon Beat. Now here we summon Donna. Donna's going to tribute itself as cost, summoning back Beat and then Rex. Beat then searches Rafali. Beat special summons Rafali from hand. You're going to excavate the top 2 and add any of them. So we're going to get tipped, because then we have a tip for both turns. So what we're doing here is we're summoning from the extra deck. There's going to be a variant of this combo coming up where you're going to summon a Runick from the extra before you go for the Donna. It just ends up on a different line, and it just helps insulate you from certain hand traps. Summoning Folgo grabs Donper. This is going to be your interaction off turn. Using tip to find any other piece of interaction. And then we're going to get to draw 3. We draw into Carrot, which is really good. From here, we're going to use Gigantic. So usually you're not going to use Donper, as a material, but because we've drawn the Mayhem as well, it's justified in doing so. Find the red, special red, make IP. We're using Rex to summon back. Using Rex to summon back the Donper because it's harder for your opponents to interact with Mayhem on the off turn. We're setting our Runick cards here because we don't expect any mass back removal games in Game 1. And if they do immediately say Cosmic Cyclone, the field spell, you still have your interaction. If you keep it in hand, you don't get to play. We're playing this out just to show how the deck sort of functions to interact. So when your opponent puts anything into play, you can summon back your Rafale. You can chain block it with the Donper so it resolves, getting another card to hand, and then you're going to get to draw 3 from Folgo after the Donper pops because you control 3 for highs. Yeah, we're going to move on to the... Oh, that's the standard one again. Let's jump over. The Donna variant. So this can be done anytime you have access to Rex and 2 Runick spells. You'll notice that we discarded the second copy of Destruction. It's because we can't resolve a second copy this turn, so we'd rather just get it out of the hand and put it back with Fountain later to draw more cards. When we're resolving Rookie, this isn't just for this combo, but in general, we want to be using it on the Hugin in the extra monster zone, because if this gets ashed, for example, we still have access to another Hugin to put in the extra monster zone, make Gigantic, and go for the Gigantic combos. So here in the first combo is where we went straight for Donna. We're summoning to the extra monster zone this time. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to use the Rex and the Munin to summon Donna. That triggers Beat without us using the Donna effect, which comes up for later combos. It also means that Donna isn't as massive of a choke point during this play. Because if they imperm the Donna before you resolve it because it's an ignition effect, you are absolutely blown out of the water. You'll see that we've drawn the Spright blue, but we can't go for it because we don't control a level or rank 2 monster. So here we get to go for Sprint. Sprint's going to send another copy of Rex to the grave, and we're using that so that way we can resolve a Rex on this turn to bring back the Donna and then still resolve the Donna, tributing the Sprint. We're tributing the Sprint because it can't be used as a link material the same turn it's summoned. So that advantage means that should we get interacted with, we can still use the Donna as a material for a link summon into, say, IP, or just immediately summoning SP and holding its effect to banish for the opponent's turn. Here we're going for Gigantic. That summons the carrot. Tip to search and draw another card. You'll see that I search Slumber. It can be anything. Slumber just gives you protection for your negates or your Folgo. We're going to go into technical play. So there are certain sequencings that you can do to optimize your gameplay. It's not always going to work out just because it's the nature of the game. You've got variants, you've got whatever your opponent draws, this, that, and the other. But I just wanted to go over things that are just relevant. This is specifically for evenly matched when you're playing going second. If you activate any Runicks in the draw phase in attempt to dodge Droll or Veiler on Hugin or on like Tip's Resolution, for example, you won't be able to go to the battle phase because every Runick will immediately skip your battle phase. So you won't get to resolve the evenly. You'll end up just, if you realise in time, you'll just pitch it for the Hugin and go from there. However, you can still play around Veiler in some capacity, because when you resolve evenly, you remain in this end step of the battle phase, which is a subsection of the battle phase, where you are still allowed to activate fast effects with priority. So you resolve evenly, your opponent banishes all but one, and then you can still remaining in the end of battle phase. You can activate a Runick quick play, summoning Hugin from the extra, discarding a card, and adding the Fountain. They can't Veiler it, however, they can still Ash, they can still Imperm, they can still do Roll on Resolution. It's just, it means that if you have the read, or if you think they have Veiler for whatever reason, if you've seen in the previous games that they've got it, it just helps you push past that one piece. Avoiding Droll. When going first or not having drawn evenly going second, you're best off to activate your Runick plays in the draw phase so you can find Fountain, as that will serve as the majority of your interaction and give you more draws in your opponent's turn, should you be stopped by Droll further in that turn. If you have Runick Tip in addition to other quick plays, I would recommend avoiding using it as your first way to search. Say you have like Flashing Fire or any other Runick quick play, for example. If you use that to summon or resolve you to add Fountain and your opponent draws on the resolution, this is say if you're in the main phase for whatever reason, you can still chain Tip to the activation of Droll, find another card, and then you're still left with 3 cards in your opponent's turn once you resolve whatever you searched to draw another 3 and hopefully have more interaction and maintain a board. We have technical play with Donna. As I discussed before, you can tribute any link monster to summon back 2 for highs with different names, which is relevant when you have the Spright Sprindle field. When Donna summons, Donna can summon from hand or grave, which is important on any games we open Beat, Rafali, Donpa, or Philo, which are the other pieces for the engine. When Donna summons back 2 fires for hires, it isn't simultaneous, so you want to stack the summons in a way that you determine what your triggers are. For example, so if you have Beat and Donpa in grave, if you summon back the Beat first and then the Donpa, you'll get a search. Whereas if you summon back the Donpa first and then Beat, you'll get a pop. This is just other technical play that's sort of relevant. Weak hands will often have you going straight to Gigantic Spright. If it resolves, both players are locked into levels, ranks, and link 2s. This is relevant that you can no longer be Nibiru'd because you can surprisingly still make 5 summons even after just going straight for Gigantic, all things considered. And notable for the next format that Fire King won't be able to summon Kieran, the main deck Runics, or the extra deck Runics, but it will be surprising if they let you get that far to begin with. Games that start with Gigantic Spright will often end on IP with a couple of other monsters, and either exist to summon Folgo off turn, or you just play in control with SP. Hands that open Rookie for high allow you to dodge Imperm, Veiler, or targeted disruption on Hugin, as you can chain the Rookie, tributing the Hugin as cost, and that can either find the Beat or the Philo, and then enable your combos to keep going. Another thing I neglected to put in this list, but definitely believe is worth considering, is any time that you're left with an extra monster zone and your opponent uses targeted destruction on your Fountain, you can chain any of your Runics to summon Hugin from the extra deck if you still have it, and then on the resolution of your opponent's effect to destroy the fountain, you can banish the Hugin with its alternate effect. Looking at the side deck, so you see the side deck ratios in the deck list section. Here, though, we're just going to go over like each card and why, and like sort of when I'm thinking about it would come in. Looking at Phantasme, it helps you dig for other hand traps. It's always been good for doing that. At my local, we have a player that plays Orcust, and it's just good in that. It gives me another body, it gives me targeted protection for other effects, and it's an extra name and type, which is relevant for Donna and Folger. Note that it is a dragon, so if you use Phantasme to make Folger, you can't summon the Rafali from it. Not likely that you're ever going to do that, but it is relevant. Got Ash Blossom and Droll. These are the options that you'll side in when you know you're going first, because you know Evenly's dead at that point, so you want these hand traps going first. And then, worst case scenario, you're going to discard them off of Hugin to find Fountain, and then ideally you just draw them later off of the rest of your game. Like, if you're drawing 3 cards on your turn and then 6 cards on your opponent, you're going through a quarter of your deck at that point, and statistically you will just hit one. Statistically you might miss one as well, that's just life. Yeah, with the Droll specifically, if you resolve the Droll early, you will not get to get your draws from the Folger and the Fountain, so you want to try and resolve those before you go any further. Wiz Sage for Hire, that's just in-engine life point gain for going into time, but also serves as a spell trap negate, relevant in like the Labyrinth matchup. Yep. Chaos Hunter and Christia, these are targets for Mannequin Cat. Chaos Hunter is good against any deck that's playing Shifter, because obviously they don't care if their cards get banished. But if it's like Kashtira, for example, it is absolutely incredible. So Kashtira shifters you. You're going to just do what you can to go for a... you're going to go for a Mannequin Cat. You're going to summon the shifter back to your opponent's board. And then Mannequin Cat's going to trigger and you're going to summon Chaos Hunter from the deck. Your opponent controls a shifter, so they can't special summon any of the Kashtiras from their hand because they already control a monster. And then they can't banish cards either, so their whole deck's basically turned off. Christia, this is a bit gimmicky. I'm just testing it. I'm going to see how it goes and see how it plays out. The reason for this is if I see my opponent is playing any light cards in their engine, or if they resolve an effect valor against me on game 1, I will consider that when siding for game 2 and bring in the Christia. Because if they effect valor me again, I can summon effect valor to their board and then summon a light from my deck, which will be the Christia, the target from Valor. Note that Christia stops both players from special summoning, but because you've given them an effect valor, they can't hard activate Imperm from hand either, so they don't have immediate effect negation to deal with it. But you can also, in matchups where you're playing against lights, Mannequin Cat doesn't trigger from when it summons a thing to your opponent's board. It's just whenever any is summoned to your opponent's board. So if your opponent summons a light from, let's say, from the extra deck, from the main deck, from the grave, Mannequin Cat will summon it. Oh, you have the option to summon it. And then with that, Mannequin Cat summons from hand, deck, or grave. So if you draw Christia or if you draw Chaos Hunter, you can just discard them for Hugin and then bring them back later with the effect. Lightning Storm, Feather Duster isn't too much to say about those. It's just good for just absolutely blasting away your opponent's back row, and then you can use your Runick Destructions to chip away at whatever they have remaining. Yeah, cheers for watching. It's nearly half an hour just talking about this. First time making a video. Appreciate any comments. If there's anything you want to address, feel free to comment as well. If you want to catch me playing the deck, like in live gameplay footage, check out the channel Nolan TCG. It'll be linked in the description. Good friend, good content. Check it out. Also check out the podcast he does with 2 other mates. Cowboy for Game. Just keeps you up to date with news, talking about events coming up, set releases, things of that nature. All good-hearted stuff. Thanks again, fellas, and best of luck with the games.